Hi there, this is a friendly group. My name's actually Hatfield, Lynn Hatfield Wingender. I'm going to try to focus on what's wrong in our county, in our state, and not so much my story, though I have to tell you a little bit about it. So, thanks. I was married for almost 17 years, and I have 3 beautiful daughters. They are Marissa, Mariah, and Marina. They are now 21, 19, and 15 years old. And when they were 12, 10, and 7, so that was almost 9 years ago that I've been dealing with this mess. Their father wanted out, and he used 2 main things in his model to ensure that economically, that's the big issue here. This is all about economics. And who wins, isn't it? Okay, it's not about what's fair or right for the kids and best for them. It's about economics. So he used misuse of the protection order. Okay, I know there's men's rights groups here, but this is an issue for all of us about what is wrong in family court. It's not about men, it's not about women. Because I've been used as the women's scapegoat, I do believe, by Commissioner Indu Thomas, who was running later in 2012 to become a real judge. So you can look online. There's a website called Victims of Indu Thomas. Okay, but I digress, because what happened was my ex-husband Patrick B. Wingender went to the city of Olympia and said, my wife got physical with me. So he made a mountain out of a molehill, and they went like this: go home, Mr. Wingender, we're not prosecuting your wife. So he judge shopped to Thurston County. And as I was saying to Patrick, if we can't elect them on, how are we going to elect them off? Those commissioners sit at the pleasure of our elected judges in this county. That has to be changed. That's why we need court reform. Okay? So he misused the protection order and the ex parte system by going in there and saying that. Here's how I know that that was wrong and against the law. Because last summer, after he had moved those children that he was given the custody of 5 times, hiding my kids from me, I went to Indu Thomas again, and I said, Your Honor, please, you've got to give me one thing, and that's his address, because I can't serve him if I can't have that. And she wrote down, so I've kind of got her. Okay, at some point, this is expensive to continue to go. Some of you said you have been 40 times. I have probably 400 documents in our deal. So, anyway, catch me up. Like, okay, so it's just too much. This is wrong. So she said, I cannot give favor to one party when the other party has not been notified. But that is precisely what she did on September 3rd of 2009. It took 2 years to get the divorce. I didn't want a divorce. My parents, who are now both dead, came to me and said, honey, we'd like to get you a divorce, because Patrick was using a second model. And that is, just as Patrick shared, false pretense to try and make someone out to be unfit. And isn't that the bottom of the barrel? Okay, but here I am, Mama Bear. Okay, I'm angry and standing up for being thrown out of my house. And she said, would you like the car, and would you like the kids and the house and all this, just based on hearsay. Okay, so I wasn't there, and I wasn't notified, and I was thrown out of my house, and I had no money because I was a stay-at-home mom. Now, I talked about economics. This ex-husband of mine makes like $8,000 a month, and he wanted me to pay child support, and that is exactly what got put on me. And after a $30,000 mountain, Judge Wickham finally froze it. But I have very little assets. I would like to have a business in order to support myself and to an aquatics business at home so that I could actually help pay for my children's educations. But this is such a game. It's a game of, and I've read this in other people's cases, it's a disguise of, it's a masquerade. Okay, and so who's footing the bill here for all of this, folks? You and you and you taxpayers, all of you, all of us, everybody. We're all paying for all this excess, wasted court time. So we need to change together. I mean, I want to talk for a second about greed-based, forced court evals, as Patrick mentioned. If you use this whole thing as a dump system from the major real judge down to the commissioner who dumps on a guardian ad litem, who dumps on the house care supervisor of forced evals, or forced visitation centers. I mean, it just keeps, it's completely wrong. We should have a jury of our peers decide who gets custody in our cases, because that's people who are going to know what we are really made of. I'm a good mom. I always was a good mom. But I got mad, as the mama bear would, to protect her cubs. And so the idea was, oh, look, she's inherently angry. Okay? False pretense. And I believe that deserves jail time. To stick a guardian ad litem who has a little cottage industry of her own and who is running or actually clerking to be an attorney and not even an attorney, and to stick that person to be the one who makes the recommendations for a family, how can that be fair? The same thing as anybody who's a psych pro being paid to come up with decisions by the other party. So I really support joint custody, and I think that we, please, everybody, put your names on this list, because for all these years I've been silenced and isolated largely with no money to really get anywhere. And I do have a bunch of names. I've been taking names. So there's strength in numbers. We need to get together and just end the false pretense. We need due process, and the biggest thing is that wrong rulings in courts, what does that, who's the one who's hurt? We all know that. It enables hostile aggressive parenting, as Joe was saying. The children being forced to pick one parent just because the other parent was given power and says those things to that kid. You know, I haven't been able to see my children except for 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks of time total in all of this time. And I've tried and I've tried and I've tried. But it's expensive, and if you go as your own attorney, you're treated like garbage. I actually went to the Court of Appeals and tried to represent myself, and that didn't work very well either. But I just thank you all for coming, and I've got a bunch of names, and let's get together and have those Sunday parties and whatever. Let's have, what is it, a round table, a big round table. And this is what I have always thought, that sign needs to hang off of that bridge they call the suicide bridge over there. And it needs to hang there for a long time so people know there's an issue, because actually before I was in this divorce I didn't even know what goes on in family court. I didn't know how bad it is. So thank you very much. I've used my time. God bless you all.